Hi, I'm Jordan with Jordan Plays Blue, and I'm going to do a monthly roundup for January 2022. So this episode of this, I wanted to talk about 4 games that I've recently played that I think are worth talking about. I want to apologize for not doing these as regularly. I want to definitely try to do that a bit more, on the regular this year in 2022. Last year I had a lot of stuff going on, personally and professionally and some other things. So I'm going to try to get into more of a routine for this month because I really enjoy doing these videos. So hopefully you guys enjoy them too. So let's just do it. All right. So let's start out with a first impression. All right, so this month's first impression is for Small Islands. Small Islands is a game that Lucky Duck is coming out with recently. I think it came out a couple years ago, somewhere over in Europe, but Lucky Duck is now doing a new edition over here in the States. And this is a tile-laying game. It almost has a Carcassonne type feel, where you have these different island tiles, and the island tiles are going to, have water and, of course, island on them, and you're trying to match them to create these islands that are going to put these tokens on, and you're like, depending on how you put the tokens on, they're going to score differently. My first impressions of it are a bit mixed, and partly because I think it is a little fiddly. I think a game that has this kind of tile laying, there's so many tile laying games out there, like, of course, Carcassonne, like I mentioned, one of my favorite games from last year, Land versus Sea, Isle of Skye, like those types of tile laying games are not very, fiddly. They're not convoluted. They kind of get in, get out. You can kind of handle them pretty quickly. And this one is not a hard game. It is not a difficult game, but it does feel a little fiddly in what you have to kind of manage on the tiles. It doesn't feel very streamlined. I do want to play it again and kind of see where I land on it, but right now it's just kind of we'll see. I haven't rushed to get it played again. And I really hope it will get better with another couple plays, but we'll see. But that is Small Island. It's a maybe for me, but it has a great look, and I hope it's good. But right now I'm just kind of like, I'm not sure. So Small Island, Lucky Duck Games. Let's talk about a game that I really enjoyed from this past month. I got this one for Christmas, and I think I played it and reviewed it over on Instagram this month. But this is Seven Wonders Architects, and this is a streamlined version of Seven Wonders. I've seen some people talk about it as like, Seven Wonders Express or My First Seven Wonders or something like that. And I think that works. I think that's a fair kind of representation of what this game is. And this is a really kind of distilled version of the Seven Wonders system. And, of course, from Seven Wonders and all the expansions, and then Seven Wonders Duel, where this is a drafting game in which you're going to be drafting cards and laying them out onto a tableau. And you're collecting kind of sets of cards and different variety of different things in order to score, and of course, try to win with the most points. This one is different in a couple ways. So one, you're not passing cards around, and you're not drawing cards from that kind of display that Seven Wonders Duel has. And this one, you're going to have face-up decks of cards between all the players and in the middle of the table, and you can draw a card from one of those 3 decks. So you have 3 options on your turn. And I will say, because of that, the game actually works super well with 2 players because you always have the same options. You don't have to really make any adjustments for 2 players, which is really cool. But you're going to be taking these cards and putting them out. One other difference is that you actually spend the resources whenever you actually pay the resources whenever you use them. In the other Seven Wonders games, you kind of have them as like a virtual permanent currency, and this one is more it has a more standard game kind of cadence, because you're collecting the cards, and then you spend the cards, then you collect the cards, and then you spend the cards. And one of the other things about this one that's really cool is that it is focused on building your wonder, and you are trying to build out You actually have these cardboard components that are, you're flipping them over and you're adding to them as you're building your wonder. And so it has a focus on building your wonder, which is really nice. But yeah, so Seven Wonders Architects plays quicker than the other ones. You can get in and out of it quicker than the other ones. I've played it with my kids, and they have been able to play. I wouldn't say they play it with the biggest strategy, but they do really well with it. And then the production is fantastic. It comes with these kind of trays that you just give the tray to the player, and it has everything they need from their starting decks and stuff. It's just really good. This one is definitely sticking around in my collection. I really enjoy it. I have friends that have Seven Wonders, and I have Seven Wonders Duel. So this one will kind of be the place of Seven Wonders, since I don't have that in my collection anymore. But Seven Wonders Architects, really awesome. Probably one of my favorites that came out last year. I'm just a little late getting to it. All right, so this is kind of the game from the month that I'm not, it's a game I'm not keeping. So this is Panorama. This is a game from, who is this? Sparkworks? I don't know anything else they've put out, but this is a gorgeous game. The artwork is fantastic, and this is a drafting game, just like I was just talking about Seven Wonders. And this is a pick and pass kind of card drafting game where you're going to take a card from a hand of cards, pass them to the next player, and you go around that way. But as you're drafting these cards, you're going to put them in these panoramas. The cards are going to go next to each other, and you're building kind of this landscape side to side. And the mountains have to match as you're putting them down, so they can only fit in certain areas. And they're going to have different scoring objectives on them. But you're building them almost like between two castles kind of vibe, where you're building them between two cities or between two castles or whatever. And you're building them between you and the players next to you. And so you're by the end of the game, you're going to have these 4 panoramas, and they're shared between the players on either side of you. Where that whole aspect of the game is super interesting, and I really, really think that's really, really cool. But I think where the game really breaks down is at the end of it, because it takes so long to score the game, as you can imagine, with 4 different panoramas on either side of you. And each one's probably going to have 10 to 12 cards, and so each card's going to score a little differently, and so it just kind of feels like work at the end of the game, where you had this, cool kind of like, the ideas like you're doing like this exploration, picture vacation kind of thing to look at these panoramas, but it just kind of muds up at the end of the game, like gums up at the end, and it just kind of comes to a halt as you're trying to score. It doesn't come with a score sheet, and it's fine, but fine doesn't make it into my collection, unfortunately. So this one's okay. I think it, in theory, is a much better game than it probably is in reality. And I think maybe if there was like a next edition of it and they kind of streamline some of the scoring and how you actually score at the end of the game, like the physical aspect of the scoring, I think would bring this game out, and I think a lot of people would take note of it. But right now, it feels fine, So that's Panorama. Interesting, but ultimately not one that's sticking around. All right, and my game of the month is a game that I picked up right after PAX. I played it for the first time at PAX, and it was absolutely fantastic. And I had to get it for myself, so I got it from my local game store, Games Unlimited here in Pittsburgh. They actually named it their game of the year, and I, of course, already wanted it. But this is Nidavellir, which came out, I believe, last year in the United States, and this is a set collection game through and through. It has some kind of card drafting and some kind of bidding, not necessarily an auction, but you are going to have these cards laid out in the middle of the table, and you're trying to, you do a blind bid at the beginning of each round with these coins that you have, and each bid that you do is going to correspond with a different row of cards, and then you all flip over simultaneously, and whoever bid the highest gets first pick of the cards in that row, and everybody goes through and picks the cards and puts them out in front of you. And so you're trying to score these different colored cards based off of different things. So it might be like a point chart kind of thing. It might be, you know, points on the cards. It might be like a, you know, multiplier or something like that. You're trying to, typical set collection kind of scoring. So, but I think where the game is really cool is in those bidding coins, because if you, there's a 0 coin bid, and if you bid that, that allows you to upgrade your other coins from this coin rack, and you can then upgrade your coins and get stronger coins. So as the game is progressing, you start the game with like 2, 3, 4, 5 or something like that as your chips. But as the game goes on, you're going to get coins that are like in the 10s and the 20s, like the teens and the 20s and things like that. And so, and those are worth points at the end of the game. So it's not just you're trying to score points based off of the cards you have, you're also scoring points based off of these coins that you have. And depending on how you're collecting those cards and those coins, you're also going to be able to get these bonus cards. And it's not a difficult game. It has a very simple, streamlined core to it, but it just comes together super, super well and just has enough twists that kind of keep you engaged. And so this one's definitely the pick of the month, and probably has quickly become a favorite game of mine, just in general, just in games. This is a super good game. I really enjoy it, and I'll be sticking around. This one will be, you know, hanging on to this one for a while. That's Nidavellir. I really like this one, and this is easily my favorite game I played in January. I played it for the first time in December, but mostly in January, and it was super good. So, yeah. Well, that is my January 2022 roundup. I did try, I'm looking at some new audio equipment, and I did some physical space that you can't stuff here, so hopefully the sound is good. And if not, I'm going to have to make some upgrades, because the physical space is a little weird in my basement right now. So I hope this will work, but we'll see. I know my videos recently have been a little echoey, so I'm trying to fix up that. But anyway, I have a ton of games that I want to talk about that I just haven't played yet. I'm looking over at my stack of games, and I just need to play some games. So hopefully I can get more played, because I just got another 6 in this week. And yeah, if you want more reviews like this, definitely check me out on Instagram at instagram.com/JordanPlaysBlue. You know, subscribe and like and follow and all of those words that you do on the social medias. And I'll be sitting here in my basement, really cold all winter. I'm kidding. I'll be upstairs most of the time. I just come down here really quick, do the video, and I go straight upstairs because I can't stand it. It's too cold. I'm Jordan. Thanks.